Tony was like, why are you taking animal science classes? You're not gonna be here but another 12 months. And I said, you're right. And I started taking bullshit. They call Florida a football vocational school.
Yeah, because I know a lot of people just went straight for just
to go to the league.
Yeah.
That's one reason I went to Florida, because everybody was like, bro, you go to Florida, you go to the league.
I was one
like,
of
okay.
them.
Georgia wasn't as good as Florida back then.
No, we used to wear Georgia ass out. You played against who? David Green? Because you was,
Quincy Carter was the first quarterback.
Quincy, and then when did you come out?
So remember, we didn't play Georgia every year.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
I was about to say, you came out, what draft were you in? What year did you?
02.
Graduate high school in 02.
Yeah.
So I saw the end of Shock and then David Green, the big white boy.
I don't know if you remember Jasper Sinks.
That running back? That was a big old motherfucker, that boy.
You know, my sophomore year, I was 185. Middle of the field, me and Jasper Sinks.
Was he 240?
I broke down. Freddie T. Front page of the paper, he ran me over. My feet was in the air.
You did one of these?
Yeah, I did everything right, Freddie T. Broke down. But you know, when they get you like that.
Jasper was a big old boy.
He saw it, and he just, boom.
Barry Davis, Tennessee, 34.
Yeah?
Yeah.
I ran up in there on some high school tackling, and that bit, boom, boom, boom. My whole right side went numb. I said, oh, these boys hitting here.
Yeah.
That's how, what's his name? LeVar Arrington did me when he was a freshman in Citrus Bowl game. Came off the end, and I had to block him. They told me to cut block him. I tried to
But
cut
you a
block.
man.
He put them knees on my ass. That cut block shit ain't work.
LeVar was the reason I won number 11 in high school.
LeVar was cold, though.
LeVar was cold.
LeVar was cold,
Who was the other boy? Brandon Short?
Yeah, B. Short was good, too.
Yeah.
Them boys was
What
playing.
up, dog?
What up?
Good with you.
What up, bro? You good,
Ooh,
man?
Chan.
Good.
He don't look that light skin on TV. You got you another one, huh?
I got me another one on our team. We taking over the world.
Well, this about
Solid, man.
This is one of the few tough ones though. He's one of the very few tough ones of y'all.
John got a little something to him.
Yeah, he
A little bit.
I appreciate it. I appreciate what the light skin do hold it down. They always.
They said light skin's the new black, man. I'm just saying. That's what they said, man. I don't know who they is, but they were saying it.
Michael Porter, MPJ, they was trying. They was like, man, we gotta swing this thing now.
Yeah, exactly.
Yo,
That's
whatever.
what it is.
Hold up, limitless, take a stomach kind pinning it. I fought the head to witness it. Got my people feeling militant. Way I'm feeling got me up. On the mission got me up. Knowing me, I got the key. On this vision I can trust. Limitless, take a stomach kind pinning it. I fought the head to witness it. Got my people feeling militant. Way I'm feeling got me up. On the mission got me up. Knowing me, I got the key. On this vision I can trust. Limitless, take a stomach kind pinning it. I fought the head to witness it. Got my people feeling militant. Way I'm feeling got me up.
Man, welcome to the show, man.
Appreciate it.
Josh Hart. I mean, shoot, man. This was a huge year for you, for your team, the Knicks. Channing Crowder, Freddie T. I'm Ryan Clark. Welcome to The Pivot. I'm part of Fanatics. I mean, I just want to get right into it. You had a conversation with Carmelo in the bubble. And you said he said something to you that at the time probably just seemed like a comment in passing. But now with the Knicks coming to fruition, it meant a lot. What did Carmelo tell you, and how did that affect you?
In the yacht club, I think it was the worst hotel for the lower seeds once. So we were there. I was with JJ Redick, and they were all kind of like in the players' lounge. So me and JJ came. We brought a couple bottles of wine. They had some bottles of wine open. So we were just talking. Me, him, Kyle O'Quinn. He was just like talking like, man, New York, man, you'll be great in New York. You'll be perfect in New York. I'm like, yeah, man, that'd be dope. That'd be cool. And then, you know, you don't really think about it too much. And then, like, when you're in that situation, you know, when you get there, it's like, yo, I understand what he's talking about, the passion that they have, the love that they have, but not just for, obviously, winning, but just, you know, guys that go out there and compete, you know, on every play and those kind of things. So that was really dope to hear him say it, but then, like, fully see it. It's like, okay, I get it. I get it now.
Do players fit cities? Like you're saying, like, do play, because you've been, traded 3 times?
Yeah, 3 times.
And you jumping around, but like, do players fit certain cities? Because there's guys that, like you said, LA's different than New York different than Miami. Do guys fit cities?
Yeah, I think so. Obviously, you have like New York, Philly's up there, like that tough, gritty kind of vibe. Then you got some of the Hollywoods, you know, the LAs, the Miami a little bit, you know, the flashy kind of vibe. So then you have the Midwest team. They just
play basketball.
Yeah, they're there. You know what I mean?
Yeah, they're going to the Sizzler. They're going to Sizzler on a Wednesday.
Yeah,
night.
exactly. Oklahoma City, man. You know, they just nice guys. I think so, but also it's cool for us because we have, you know, that y'all like everyone knows New York is like that, you know, city that never sleeps. You grind. You know, you kind of, you know, just make it happen. That we kind of have that with Leon West, Tibbs. And then everyone else we have is that same kind of mode on the team. So I think, you know, it's cool. Players match, you know, like the city, but also, you know, the franchise did a great job of having the right guys that do that.
To expound on that and what Channing said, you've been to Portland, LA, New Orleans, so you've kind of been around. Now you're here on the East Coast. Is it more distracting playing in the Garden?
Nah. I'll tell you, playing in the Garden is a good and bad thing, right? Because you got a home team, like, you good, like, it's lit, the energy is crazy, all that kind of stuff. But then on the flip side, everybody wants to play at the Garden. Dudes were like, if they see New York on the schedule and they nursing a little injury, all right, let me sit out the game or two before, make sure I'm right to go to the Garden. And you be having random dudes just go off. They be, oh, this is my time. They go out there, get 30, 40, 50, and you looking like, man, he don't do this. He don't do this, but it's just like,
that's the stage.
Yeah, it's like that's the stage. Everybody you always want to compete at the Garden. And I was in the Western Conference for, you know, my whole career, so we go there once. Mm-hmm. So it's like, you make sure you ready, you know, to play in the Garden just because there's no better place.
You look at all of the true greats of the game, they all have a Garden game, whether it's Kobe, Michael Jordan. You can always point to a game at Madison Square where those players went off. I mean, I think one of the first times I really saw Steph be Steph was in the Garden, you know, back in the day, and that was like leaky ankle Steph at the time, because it is that sort of, you know, atmosphere. You know, we've already kind of talked about bouncing around to different places. We had DeMar on the show last week, DeMar DeRozan, and he talked about being traded from Toronto and how that affected him. You started with the Lakers, and there's the famous selfie picture of you smiling. You had a conversation with Taylor, and you said that was kind of to cover up what I was going through.
Yeah.
What were you hiding, though? What were the feelings that made you feel like you needed to post that so people thought you were all right with the trade?
Especially as a young guy, you know, that was just finished my second year. So you don't look at, you know, obviously, like, they trade in me, Zoe, B.I., like, and they getting AD, like, they getting a top 5 player in the league at the time. So it's like, you don't look at it that way. You looking at it like, damn, like, dog, these dudes, they ain't want me. Like that, like that's how you looking, like, man, they ain't want me. They just traded me away. And it's like your first real moment of like, oh, this is a business. Like this, you know, like, cool, you know, I was cool with, you know, people there, cool with Pelinka, but like I saw, you know, you find out on Twitter, obviously now everything's social media, so it's like dang, me and Pelinka, we was real cool. So it's like, you know, if he just called me up, like, all right, like, I get it. But social media, I found it on Twitter, you know, and obviously it was in the works for a while. You see the proposals, my agent at the time kind of kept me in the loop a little, you know, with all that, but it was just like, man, let me just put up this little front like I'm hyped. I'm going down to New Orleans. I ain't want to go to New Orleans, bro. my first memory in New Orleans was just we played there like the end of Mardi Gras. I remember I saw like the bulldozer, he was like bulldozing trash, and I saw all like the liquor and all the stuff, throw up, all that coming down the bulldozer. I'm just like, dog, hell no, this is terrible. And then a year later, I get there, I'm just like, all right, well, let's see how this is.
Yeah. Well, in full transparency, that's where I'm from. So,
it got a little stitch.
Yeah, so I was born and raised
it.
there. I do not go to Mardi Gras, though.
They can't.
But no, I get it, man. It's also one of those places where, like, if they do love you, they love you. but it is its own culture. And being from the DMV, having played in Los Angeles, it's definitely way different than all of those places.
Like being a young dude, now you like back then.
Yeah.
Because I guess in basketball it's different than football. Where like the trades aren't like you're saying, oh, we can get this dude, we'll trade that 5 dudes.
Yeah.
Does it take a second, or like as a young dude, how long did it take to get that transition of like, listen, honestly, bro, you're a commodity. You're a human, but okay, you can go.
You're
you can go
asset.
11, 8, and 7. Okay, we need 11, 8, and 7. So I'm gonna get this 34, 5, and 4 for 3, 11, 8. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Just stuff like that. What's that transition like? Like you said, to understand as a business, you're a human, but you're really, you're a 3.
Yeah.
You're a 2. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. It's tough because it's like, this is my first trade deadline where I'm like, oh, I can't get traded. Not because like, I was like, oh yeah, I'm the man. My contract, I couldn't get traded until the day after the trade deadline because it was like the 6 months period for my extension was over. So this was like the first time trade deadline. I'm just sitting there, I got my feet up, I'm kicking it. Like I have like relief. Every other time, like you're sitting there like, all right, where am I going? Like, and I feel like my style, like you said, like, I can kind of be thrown in different situations and I can kind of figure it out and be impactful. So it's like, for me, it's like, sometimes I'm like, I have no idea where I'm going. I have no idea where I'm going to be next week. I don't know if I'm going to be, a Knick. I don't know if I'm going to be a Laker. I don't know if I'm going to be a Oklahoma City Thunder. Like, it's just, that's like the tough part of it because it's like, we have families. It's like, just have kids. Now you trying to figure out, my wife and my kids coming, are they going to stay here? They're going to start school. Like, you have a whole bunch of stuff. So sometimes that's why you see guys get traded and their mind's totally somewhere else. Because it's like, bro, you don't have your family. You don't have like that like safe area to go back to. At home, it's just like, at that point, it's just you working that 9 to 5 basically.
You're playing ball.
Exactly.
You pinned a post after you guys lost. You said home is where the heart is. Having gone through those different trades and all those different emotions, does it feel like this is home?
Yeah, I loved my time in LA. Loved New Orleans. I actually really liked New Orleans. New Orleans was they treated me right. They were good. Portland, quick stint was cool. But here, it's just, the vibe of it is a little different. It's a Knicks city. People here love the Knicks. So just like that vibe that they get of just, showing me love, showing my family love. I'm from Maryland, so I get parents, like during this whole playoffs, my parents were here, then they were flying to Indy or going down to Philly, my host family, my wife, her family comes up and friends come up. So this feels like home, not just on the court and how I'm embraced by the fans and my teammates and all that, but also just where the location is. I see everybody. I have friends from high school, that's like my closest friends that I see all the time. So, it feels like home.
With it feeling that way, you guys won the national championship in Madison Square. How are those feelings going into those games every night when you're playing the home games, being able to look up and have that reminder? You have a banner in there too, right?
So we've won the Big East joints in MSG. We have our national championship banner in Philly. So every time we play there, you always look up and see that. But it's just like, you play their Big East tournament for 4 years. Couple sad moments, but a couple good moments. And so you just have so many emotions when you go into a Garden. And it's like, for me, I feel like I've had pretty good success in the Garden. And it's just like, the energy is totally different. Like, when certain football arenas, like, you go in, it's like, all right, like, the fans, where we are, like, all that, like, goes into it. Like, that's how the Garden is. So every time you go there, especially, as in Nova, we were always the 1 seed. So we would always use the Knicks locker room. So it's like, we would be in the Knicks locker room, and now, 10 years later, I'm sitting in the same seat I was sitting in when we were winning Big East championship. So it's cool to see everything just kind of come, full circle. But that's also the scary part of it, because I'm like sitting here like, yeah, it's home, it's perfect situation, on court, off court, da-da-da. And it's like, in 3 months, I could be I could be somewhere else. So you always have to like, you know, embrace where you are, but kind of be ready to, you know, to know that, you know, there could be another chapter and you have no say in it.
You mentioned family being able to come see you here in New York, but you got a piece of your family on the team too with Jalen and Donte. I've seen somewhere you called yourself a polite a-hole.
Yeah.
Right? I get that. I am fully aware of humans like that. They're like, what you looking at me for?
It hit close to home, didn't it?
That's kind of like my favorite humans.
Yeah.
Is that why Donte put hands on you at school though?
You got beat up?
Nah, I ain't get beat up. I ain't get beat up. So we, I said something out of pocket I shouldn't have said, and then he basically told me he had like a 10-pound weight, and he was gonna hit me. So I told him, yo, you better knock me out, because if you don't, it's curtains. And then we got in. I won't go play by play, but then we got into it. Then me and Tay, we got into it a couple times. But it's funny just because like he's kind of similar to me, not as much the a-hole part. We always used to go at it a little bit, but it was always like, you know, from love. But we always went at it.
I saw a little bit of that though when he got after old boy going down the court against the Pacers in the last series. And so I think you need those sorts of people around. And when you find that common ground though, when it's like, yeah, we are very similar, we do butt heads, but once you get to the love part of that, like that's a connection that I think, you know, those things last a lifetime. Going back to the series, you know, you became a starter this year, I think, with Julius went out. There was a point in these playoffs for you the leading rebounder at 6'5", and you do have that scrappy level of play, that intensity, the way you compete. But man, there were games, 3 or 4 games you played the entire game. How difficult was this stretch run for y'all as y'all constantly lost players, having to play teams like Philly, who would have been a higher seed if Joel is healthy, and also Indy, who lost Halliburton for a lot of the year? How difficult was it to be shorthanded?
Extremely, because you know, after, you know, we made that trade and we got OG, and in January, we were like 15-1, 16-1. We were rolling. We have like the best defense, one of the best offenses. Like, you know, like mid-season, you rolling, you like, all right, like, yeah, we
got a shot.
we gonna make some noise. And then it's like, you know, one domino falls, and it's like, all right, like, okay, we can, like, we'll still be straight. We got a deep team. Then another one falls, and he's just sitting there like, he might come back, so we gotta keep it afloat. You know what I mean? We gotta just hold on. So it was just like those dominoes just keep falling, and it's like one of the things that, as y'all know, is winning a championship or being successful. Sometimes it just comes down to just luck. You know what I mean? It just comes down to, you know, where the ball bounces. You know, if a guy's hurt, if a guy's not hurt. So we, you know, it was tough because we went from like, okay, we can really make some noise to we out there fighting, and it was,
For my life.
yeah, exactly. And it was like, for me, I'm a competitor. I love to compete at the highest level. So I was, you know, once I started seeing guys, you know, just going down, it was like, okay, I gotta step my play up. I gotta like step my minutes up. And
was there a conversation with you and Tibbs though, where he told you you'd play more minutes or you'd be playing full games?
Nah, you know, first and foremost, like probably like 5-6 times a game was just looking like, yo, like, you good? You need a sub? You need something? And I'm like, it was like the point. I'm like, yo, if I need something, I'll come to you. I'll let you know if I need a sub or something. If not, I'm good. Right. But it was just one of those things like you know, once you have guys going down, it's like I gotta pick my stuff up. I gotta step up, and I gotta go out there hoop. And if, you know, during playoff time, it's like I gotta push my body to the max, you know, to the point where, you know, it's either, you know, it's my body shutting down. And that was, you know, my thought process was I'm a, you know, go until the wheels fall off. Yeah. And that was just kind of my mentality, all-star break to the last game of the season.
Do you know, since you've been traded here, the only team with more wins than the Knicks is Boston and Denver?
We might be on top of that if we ain't had these injuries this year.
Y'all brought up Tibbs. They say Tibbs worked the dog shit out of you. You've been on some teams like that. The national narrative is Tibbs worked people to death, and then you get the injuries, and you've seen through his career, like, you go, does he really work players harder than other coaches?
The thing about the NBA, and it might be the same with, I think sports in general, once you get a label, it's almost impossible to get, to change that label or change that narrative.
Yeah.
So it might have been like that in Chicago or Minnesota, wherever it was, but since, my year and a half I've been here, man, it'd be light. It'd be chill. Like, we probably went live maybe like 6-7 times this whole season during practice. Most of the time it's more mental. It's more, all right, we're running through these plays. We're, doing 25 passes, figuring out like if Jalen gets blitzed or if Julius gets blitzed, where are we supposed to be? And it's more the mental part where you have to lock in with his practice. It's not really physical. We're not running up and down. We're not doing much. And coming from me, someone that hates practice, like I hate practice, bro. I hate doing like this. Turn them lights on at 7:30 at the Garden, I'm good. Yeah. But for me, I'm like, oh, this is it. Oh, we good. Like, we cool. I'm chilling. So I think he got kind of an unfair narrative that kind of follows him around. And if you look at the injuries we had this year, Julius basically falling, someone trying to take a charge, he falls, on his shoulder, freak incident. Bogey, unfortunately, like Nick Batum, tried to dive for a loose ball, caught a piece of his ankle, freak incident. Mitch, stress injuries, those are tough ones. Jalen breaking his hand, freak incident. OG pulling his hamstring, he's going full speed for, to try to get the ball. You never know what's gonna happen. So, a lot of the injuries we had were freak incidents, and then it's like, all right, we got 7-8 healthy players, and then you mad at a dude for playing 6. It's like, as y'all know, sometimes the 7th or 8th guy or 9th guy, like, they're not ready yet. They might be, they have the potential to be, but they're at this point in time, they might not be ready. Right. So it's like, you got to go with, who you know and who you trust.
Jay, let's pivot for a quick second. Let's go back down memory lane to your childhood. You were almost kicked out of high school. Why?
Boy, my grades was rough. So I went to public school my whole life, man. So public school, it was like, you turn your stuff in, you getting C's, B's, or whatever. So I'm like, freshman year in high school, my GPA like 3.6. I was cool. I was locked in. And then I transferred to Sidwell, and it was like they were speaking a different language, but like stuff that they was learning. Like, I had no I couldn't comprehend what they were talking about. They were just like explicating poems and talking about how this author would put a capital letter here and on this word in the middle of a sentence, and that means get the reader to fully comprehend, his mind. I'm like, bro, what the hell are y'all talking about, dog? I'm sitting there, bro, like, dog, this makes no sense just because of you coming out with a 3-letter explanation because he capitalized the T and the in the middle of a sentence. Like, bro, this makes no sense. So my grades was bad, and it was like I would take hour bus ride to school, so I would be up at 6. I'm like, first period, English, I'm like falling asleep. Right. My wife now at the time was in my class, she's laughing at me and all that. After my sophomore year, they were like, yeah, I think my dad still has the letter. They gave him like, yeah, we think he should be going somewhere else. We think he'll be more successful elsewhere with his basketball career and, Thing that was cool was people around me, my friends, people in like the Sidwell Friends community, parents and some teachers, they kind of went to bat for me and they were like, we didn't give him the proper resources to be successful. They kind of rallied and kind of changed the headmaster's decision to let me back in. And then at that point it was like, I can't I can't leave that support structure that, you know, that went to bat for me to go somewhere else. Because I was thinking about going to Montrose Christian. I was like, all right, I'm going to just go play for Stu Vetter. I'm going to go hoop, get rain to go wherever college I want to go to and call it a day. But then once they did all that, it was like, I can't leave, you know, this.
That school's also famous. Chelsea Clinton went there. Both of the Obama girls also went to that high school. And that just sort of tells you the level of status and family that goes to that school. I went to a private school. I remember walking in the kitchen and my mom's on the phone telling the lady that collects the payments, okay, I can pay you, I get paid at this time, I can cash my check and pay y'all this much. I get paid at that time, I can cash my check and pay y'all that much. When I was around families who lived in these big houses, I'd go visit them and I could just tell like we were different. But I was a football player and they wanted me to go to that school and they gave me a little bit of help at times. For you, were there ever moments where it was uncomfortable because you knew you didn't come from what those people at those schools came from?
When I stepped into that building, when I stepped out that building, that was my moment. It was 3 years of that moment. And it was just, like you said, like people there got, you know, most of them come from money, right? So I remember there was one time my sophomore year, you got to leave campus during lunch or free period, like you get a sign out. I'm like, oh, this is dope. Like, y'all get to leave? Y'all get to leave here? Okay. And at Sidwell, I'm not gonna lie, like their food was like absurd. Like, bro, they had whatever you wanted, they basically had. So I'm sitting there like, you know, knowing I don't got 2 quarters to rub together. I'm over there dining and then one of my friends, it was like, yo, we about to go to Chipotle for lunch, bro. You want to come with? I looked at him. I'm like, I got no bread, bro. I got no bread to buy this $6 Chipotle burrito. And the dude, he ain't understand. He was like, what you mean bread? Like, bro, I don't know what you want. I said, bro, I don't got the money, bro. I don't got it. And like that was like one of my like probably first couple of weeks there, and it was just like, you know, going to like, you know, friend's house, a party, you know, going to, you know, some parties. It was always big crib. They'll go to Georgetown and hang out. I'm like, bro, I always said like I hated going to Georgetown. I'm like, I don't got no bread, you know, no bread to really be out here. I'm like, I'm out of my element right now. Yeah. But those moments were just, it was a constant, you know, that whole time.
You had a host family. We talked to Caleb Williams. He went to Gonzaga, and he said his family just got him an apartment there so he could be there. You know, your host family, you've gotten close enough to them to call them, you know, like moms and papa and different things like that. What was that experience like, and how grateful are you to them for, one, allowing you to be there throughout the weeks, go home on the weekends, but also your parents having that understanding that that was the best thing for you?
It was tough, right? Because going through it, it was like I was extremely excited about it because, you know, they lived in Gaithersburg. We went downstairs. I had like basically my own room. Like downstairs was like the kind of like a little living room area. It was like my own space, right? Yeah. So it was dope because we were in with my family, we were in like a 2-bedroom apartment. It was like 5 of us at the time, and then my dad welcomed one of my brother's friends in who's had a family tragedy, so it was like 6 of us. So I actually had like my own, you know, room, my own space. So I was excited with that. I was grateful for, you know, my host family who obviously, you know, opened their house to me and gave me, you know, whatever resources I need to kind of be successful. And obviously I'm close to them to this day. Matt, obviously, you know, is on the pod with me. Yeah. Call her mom, mama. Call my host dad Pops, you know, little brother Charlie. So I'm close to them to this day. Senior at Villanova, they actually moved to Philly because he was commuting back and forth to New York. So I got to see them all the time. So I was extremely grateful for everything that they did for me, they sacrificed for me. And then now looking at it from, you know, me having kids, I look at it from my parents' side. I'm just like, damn, like I know that was probably really tough for them. And I gotta show them, you know, a lot of love for it because, you know, they're basically giving their kid to someone else to raise for, 5-6 days out the week, and like they come home for a Saturday or a Sunday, if I'm not going out hanging out with friends. So there was times, my junior, senior year, they'd see me maybe once a week.
Right.
So I know that was probably tough for them. And now me, being a parent, I'm extremely thankful to them because they made that sacrifice. They're giving their baby away, for him to improve and grow up as a person. But, for them, I know that was, pretty tough.
Yeah. And bro, from that standpoint, because you're a teenager, right? They say, pressure bust pipes and make diamonds. You know for a fact you living better because of basketball. Like the pressure of that on a teenager, did you understand that? You just playing ball, or like, I wouldn't be here if I couldn't go out and dunk, and if I couldn't drop 30 a night, I would not be in this big ass house.
Yeah, a little bit, and it was something that was cool, cause my dad would constantly say, even like when I was in college and I was trying to figure out draft stuff or, just other things, and he always told us like, don't worry about us. Like we're going to be okay. We're going to figure it out. And my dad, man of faith, he didn't want to put that on, on me or any of his kids. He was like, no matter what, like we're going to be okay. We might not have the most, but we're going to get through it. So for me, it was like, okay, I can go out there and I can just, live my life and play ball how I want to play ball. In the back of my mind, obviously, it's like I gotta hoop to make sure, I'm going to college. I go to college. Good chance I go overseas or NBA and get bread that can help. But my dad, even my mom, they made sure like it never was like a thing where it was like, there's pressure to get there to help.
Up.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. And that was something that was really, really cool for them. 'Cause I know, times they were struggling, whether it was like financially, physically, mentally, like, but they didn't want any of their kids to have that burden on them.
Did that make it, you had a very simple 3-word tweet that said you were going to come back to Villanova for your senior year. You guys had won national championship. Could have been easy to try to go, whether it was early second, late first. Difficult probably to go through the combine process after a long season like that. What were the conversations around that decision with your father?
It was really this basically the same thing. I remember when I was talking to him, and he was like, make this decision for you. Make what decision you think is the best decision for you. Do that, because we're going to be cool. Like we're fine. We're good. So it allowed me to just be like, okay, what is the best path for me to be successful, not just as a hooper, but also as like a person? Where am I going to continue to grow up and to mature? And once he said that, I was like, all right, I know I'm probably not ready, for the NBA, but it was like I was trying to get there just to get a check to make sure like I can kind of help everybody out. And then once you said that, it was like, okay, my best path is to go back, and it kind of freed me up for it.
What's crazy about that team though, bro, is like y'all are the exact opposite of what they look for in the draft now. That team, Villanova.
Yeah.
When you look at Mikal, obviously a star now in Brooklyn, much like you do, never misses a game, plays a ton of minutes. Jalen, Donte, y'all were all guys that stayed in school and won and developed skills. What was the experience like there under Jay Wright? There was someone who won a ton of Emmys last week, and he looked at Jay Wright and said, man, I appreciate you. I appreciate you for Josh and for Jalen and for Donte. I'm a big Knicks fan. What was the experience like there to win a ton of games, but to also know that when it comes to the draft and when it comes to the league, guys who stay in school in that way aren't looked at as those high ceiling sort of dudes?
Yeah, it's it's like the frustrating part of where the NBA is now, right? It's all about potential. It's like if a dude is 6'9", lengthy, athletic, like, oh, he has the potential to be all NBA guy, so we gotta take him in the lottery pick. But the guy that was, player of the year, the guy that averaged 20, or the guy's team that won national championship, it's like, that's cool, but he's a little bit older and 22, like 21,
Did y'all
you're
actually
older.
think about that though at school?
Not too much. I think it was always like towards the end of the year, right? Like once like the season's over, you start looking at it and it's like, I have a chance to maybe go out now. I'm like younger, you know what I mean? Like I'm not sure who's gonna be here next year. And you always, you always hear about that and you always talk about it. But it was just one of those things like, we all were comfortable with ourselves and we knew like, we all have our own path. I think that's why, we are where we are. I think because we all were overlooked at some point or doubted at some point. So we had to make sure we worked twice as hard to show our potential, than, rather than just the lengthy 6'9" guy that can
Jump out the gym.
Yeah, exactly.
It reminds me of a little bit of my career, not testing free agency and going to other teams. Chill out, let me get to the point. Not going to other teams. And in retrospect, like what I was able to get from that was my name put in the Ring of Honor. Like my kids can see that forever. And much like yourself, if you didn't come back for your senior year, you might not get your jersey retired.
Yeah.
You have something to share with your children and they can share with their children and it's gonna be in your family forever.
Yeah.
So without coming back, do you think that moment happens?
Nah, probably not. My senior year, obviously we didn't win it, but individually, I had a lot of success. I got to be Big East Player of the Year, Defensive Player of the Year. I was like runner-up in, National Player of the Year. And I had more like notoriety to my name. So like I was able to, have success and obviously now have my jersey retired there. And that's something that if I left a year early, I don't think I probably would have had. So it's like you said, it's something that, when I, go back, you get to see that and it's like, it's cool. And like, whenever my kids, hopefully they go to Villanova, but whenever they go there, they get to see that, and hopefully they can be proud. Like, yeah, that's my dad.
That feels that good. How much money do you get for having your jersey?
Not a damn thing. I don't get no bread from it,
You can't eat nothing in the rafters, man.
It turned into money for him, though.
That's true. But me and you, say we sitting there, say we watching a game at the pavilion or something like that. One, I'm gonna get love. Whenever I go back to Nova, it's gonna get love. So like that's dope. But then whenever we talking, we start reminiscing about it. And my man.
That's the thing.
Yeah, man, I remember that, boy. That thing up there, man.
Yeah, it's because I play with it in my mind too, because for me, I used to go to games as a youth and I would see these names around the state and I never knew what it meant until after I got in there. I was like, oh, that's the Ring of Honor. Yeah. But even like LeBron and these guys that are from different teams, when they don't necessarily have to go, like when he went to Miami, then back to Cleveland, then to LA, I'm talking about being the face of an organization. Like D Wade is gonna have a statue because he was in Miami for forever. Like AI in Philly. It's about legacy. It's not always about money. AI, and those are the point. Chill out.
What about AI's little bitty statue, man?
But that's how they do it, though.
That's
how they do it.
They had him in the crossover joint.
Shaq is hanging.
Yeah, but that's different, though. Yeah,
Philly getting the baby.
All of them are small.
Oh, the figurines.
Yeah, they have it's like a trophy room almost.
It's like outside the practice facility. So whenever you drive up, you see like, whoever they have, Dr. J and all them, but they all like this. They all miniature size.
Oh, they got Dr. J got the little miniature.
They all doing different things too. So AI is doing the crossover, so he's already low, and then the statue ain't but this big too, and the bottom is fat, so it make it look.
But Channing will tell you though, like he counted his checks. Like every week he said, all right, I play this game. This is what I'm gonna get paid. So that was his motivation. And for a while, just going back to me, like my motivation turned from that to something else. When I had an opportunity to make 10,000 Yard Club, I went hard for it and all this other stuff. So for me, it went from grinding and being motivated by the money to being motivated by potential legacy, something to leave so my kids can see it. That's all.
Shoot, I was just trying to make teams. I wasn't drafted. I was just like, shit, let me see if I can get on the field.
I'm on the roster
And
this
then,
week.
Shoot, then I get to, hey, here's the thing. I get to Washington. I remember I got to Washington first practice. I'm sick, I had sickle cell. So I didn't got tired. And S-Dot, Sean Taylor walks up to me. He's like, look, killer, you got to get up. And I was like, I'm trying, dog. I am trying. It was just for me, man. It was the focus of making teams, but like to get to the point to where you are, to have the standing ovation with 3 minutes left to go in the game. You know, Tibbs understands it's over. You guys are down big. Like that's a journey in itself. For you to be able to say that you're home. You haven't had an opportunity to play in the finals, but you've won Big East. You've won.
Thank you.
It's all right. Like of the people here, I'm the only one that's played in a professional championship.
Here you go.
It's okay.
He like to do this to us, bro.
Yeah, it ain't your fault, Josh. You know, you did all you could do to get your team there. As did I, but we got there
I played
twice.
in the AFC championship.
That doesn't really count. If you look back on just growing up a basketball fan, what is your favorite finals memory?
The 06 Miami run, D-Wade. D-Wade was my favorite player growing up. So just watching his finals run was absurd because he did everything. He scored, he rebounded, he defended. He did literally everything it took to win. So there's that. And then I won't say it's my favorite because obviously it was D-Wade's, but the most impactful obviously is Bron's block. Because it was just, you can see just the want, right? The want from, outpacing everybody from the, where he started at the free throw line or under the free throw line, wherever he was. And you see like the determination, the grit, the toughness in that moment. So those are probably my two, finals memories.
Yeah, if I could get two, it would be Jordan and Byron Russell and Kobe on the injured ankle against the Indiana Pacers when Shaq goes down. Like those are the moments that we might see from a Tatum or from an Ant. And I mean, 40 other people could see it through Fanatics Sportsbook. They're giving away 20 pairs of tickets to the finals for a finals experience. You download the app, opt in, and that's all you got to do to enter. So I think that's a dope part of the entire thing. And it would be you bringing a championship somewhere close to home. But you mentioned, having twins. I have to ask, 'cause I think the names are so dope. How'd you come up with Hayes and Hendricks?
Honestly, it was just totally random. So Jeremy Grant, one of my, went to DeMatha, I know him since high school. We were together in Portland, so his girl was pregnant at the time, mine was too. So he was like, yeah, if it's a boy, I'm gonna name him Hendricks. I was like, oh, that's hard. And then we got on the plane like 4 weeks later, he was like, yeah, I'm having a girl. I'm like, damn, I have two boys, so I might have to take one. I might have to take Hendricks. So I got Hendricks. And then we're at dinner, me, my wife, Matt, my host brother, and I think his fiance, Samara, was there. And we're going down, my wife wanted H's, right? So I was like, we always talked about Hayden. Hayden was supposed to be one of the names. So we're going down just saying random names, So Matt's like, Hayes. And then my wife was like, oh my God, that is it. So I was just like, and I was sick because like, I wanted a junior, like for forever. I wanted a little JJ, to be good. And then obviously twins, I couldn't do that. Well, I tried. My wife told me I couldn't do that. So yeah, I stole Hendricks from Jeremy, and then Matt just randomly said Hayes, and we were going with it. But now sometimes people think we big Jimi Hendrix fans. So.
That's what made me ask. But I actually like this story more, that you just stole your homeboy's baby name.
Yeah,
Like he can't have a son in the future. You know what I'm saying? Like
too late. You
didn't took the man.
Hendricks, Hendricks.
He was supposed to have your name first, but you was born first. So you got
So
it.
now but y'all both got it now though, so y'all good.
In moving here though, and talking about being close to family and all of those things, how does that help your marriage, help your family? Because you have a rare story to be able to say, in my sophomore year, my now wife would laugh at me. That's not a story you get to hear a lot of times when guys go off to college and then they make it in the league and have these opportunities. You meet these different people. How much of a factor was her happiness in this place feeling more like home?
That was one of the main things because LA, she wasn't with me. We were together, but she wasn't, we didn't live together. Got down to New Orleans, she was living with me, and it was cool. Like, it's not too far. Like, New Orleans, solid. Then we go to Portland. Man, Portland was, for her, it was miserable. She was as far away from home as she could be, as far away from her friends. She doesn't, she's a very nervous flyer. So she doesn't like getting on planes that much. She would take some calming, pill, but obviously pregnant, she can't do that. So a lot of times, I would be gone for, a couple days at a time, or Portland, sometimes you have 2-week road trips. So it's a lot of times she was just in the house by herself. Sometimes her mom would come up or a friend would come up if they had time, but I felt bad for her just because she felt so alone. So we got traded, we got to New York, she's hype as hell. And then, the past summer, I was going into free agency. So it was like I could opt that in and extend, or I could be a free agent and try to figure out where the money was. So we had conversations, I'll be in the car, my agents call me, and we're talking through possibilities. And I'm not gonna say other teams, but there was other teams that popped up, that it could be. And I see her face looking at me. She's just sitting there like, we going there? That's where we gonna go? And I was just, so I'm looking at her, and I'm just driving, I'm dang, I'm man, this is gonna be tough.
Right.
So it was just it just made so much sense, having kids, having the help, having my parents, host parents, her mom comes up all the time. So her happiness definitely was one of the main priorities, going into if I'm a due free agency or just try to get an extension.
Yeah, you sign an extension, and that ends up being, a great year for your team. You get to Indiana, they got Siakam, who comes from Toronto, but obviously that team's run by Halliburton. And the way he finished, you guys had played so well against him at home. For him to finish that game the way he did, now they're on to Boston. When you look at the East, right, the two final teams, who are the players you think will have the biggest impact on what happens?
Obviously, Tyrese, TJ McConnell.
He said he was a dog when he was playing, yo.
Yeah, yeah, he did. And I love TJ. TJ's great dude, but just someone who competes at a high level. Doesn't matter who he's going against, no matter what's happening, he's going to compete. And once Tyrese goes, there was a couple of times in our series, Tyrese went out and he elevated how they were playing. So he's going to be big. On the other side, it's just going to be, more curious to see how they end the games and see how Tatum and Jalen Brown end games, because they're, one
of the most phenomenal winning duos in the regular season, but they haven't finished, you right?
Yeah, and it was sometimes when games are close down the stretch, sometimes you're I'm not sure how this game's gonna end. I'm not sure. I don't think they're gonna win. And then once I saw them go into overtime, I'm yeah, Indiana blew that chance.
Right.
But most important thing is how is Tatum and Jalen Brown gonna, that last 6 minutes when it's, we got to go win this. How they're gonna perform.
Right.
Give it to the light-skinned dude.
Oh, so if you
Tatum
you got,
gonna go Halliburton.
All right, so your top 5 then that's left. You got Tatum
there.
You got Halliburton left.
And I'm just talking about ability, but you can look at their skin color if
top
you want
5 left.
to.
Okay.
Yeah.
So Tatum, Halliburton. On the other side, you got to go Kyrie,
Luka.
Anthony Edwards,
Yeah.
Luka.
I love Ant.
Ant's one.
Bro,
Ant's one. To me, that's left. Luka would probably be 2.
Kyrie.
JT.
Ant, Luka. Kyrie.
I'm telling you, bro.
Luka, Kyrie, 2
Kyrie's
and 3.
up there. Kyrie's one of the.
In front of Tatum?
Yeah, that's where I'm going.
Okay, I'll let you have yours.
And obviously everyone has, struggles shooting the ball. They go through like slumps and all that, right? But game one, fourth quarter, and overtime, Jason Tatum went 2 for 10.
Yep.
Right, and obviously that's sometimes just where the ball bounces. He made the biggest shot of the game, the step back 3. But I might put over just like impactful. I might put Derek White more impactful than JT.
Yeah. Especially since he cut his hair.
Once he let it go, bro, he became the man.
I won some money on Fanatics now with Derek White.
But if you look at every main play in the last 6 minutes of the fourth to overtime, every big play he made. JT, missed one, spin off wide open layup. He gets the offensive rebound, gives him another possession. He gets a defensive rebound. He gets a steal. He's probably one of the most impactful players because he does just everything on the court and does everything at a very high level.
So we have this thing called Fanatics Pivot Parlay. It's a 3-team parlay. And he picked Derek White, the combination bet. You picked Indy
by points.
plus 10.
Yep.
My bet was Tatum under 29. He had 26 in regular intermission.
Yep.
You went to overtime. You're talking about making plays and lifting your team. He scored another 10 points, and I killed the parlay. I let the team down. But, the overtime is out of my control.
Yeah.
Right? So I hope that any of you fans out there that took the pivot parlay, I'm sorry. Blame it on JT because he went crazy in overtime.
They need to blame it on the Pacers. Don't blame him. Blame the Pacers because the Pacers are up 3
Foul.
with 10 seconds. One, you just got to inbound the ball. Get the ball in. 1, and then 2, the foul. I would say there was no chance to foul.
Yeah.
Because once he caught it,
he went up.
He caught it and shot fake. You don't know if he's shot faking or not. So once you see him go up, it's we just got to. Whatever happens at this point is going to happen. So there was no chance for him to really foul. But 10 seconds left, that's when you got to be able to inbound the ball, whether it's a play or one of your guys just sitting there like, all right, I'm gonna be more physical and stronger, and I'm going to get open.
All right,
So don't. It ain't on you, brother.
Yeah,
So,
there we go.
It ain't on you,
So
my
the
dog.
Fanatics sports
You did your job.
It's not on me.
It was supposed to be 26.
Hey, I went under. I thought right, but
Well, you already messed up the parlay. So they got to do it themselves. They just download the app, Fanatics Sportsbook app, and they can win prizes for the finals, but as long as they don't take your advice. And I got it right.
I'm hitting them in the head.
But this is I just want to ask you because RC mentioned Washington when he was there. I know you're a Commanders fan, right? Are you excited about the new regime, new ownership, new head coach, new quarterback? How do you think the season's going to go for you guys?
So I'm extremely excited, but I want to taper my excitement down a little bit because
It's called Scorn Fan.
Yeah, but I said because every year, bro, every year I get hyped.
Right.
Every Sunday I'm out there with my jersey on. I'm watching games, and it's been a struggle. So I'm just saying I'm extremely excited. New regime, you got good young players all over, but I'm.
You might have the best quarterback in the
Jaden
draft. Jaden? He
Yeah.
can go.
The thing is, he can go, but are you going to? Do they got enough to protect him?
Yeah.
And do they got enough weapons to help him?
Great question.
The weapons are there. I like Terry.
Here's what I say. They got players. Jahan Dotson has to play better.
Dotson, yeah.
Jahan got to play better. Brian Robinson can run. They were a team that can run the football. He is special. I've known him since he was 17. Him and my son committed to Arizona State together.
Dope.
And he can really play. He's developed into a leader. He's more adult than some of the guys that come in because guys leave after 3 years. So I'm excited to see it. And the ownership is different.
Yeah.
You've been there,
big
bro.
difference, yeah.
You grew up there. You knew what the ownership was like, some of the toxicity around that whole place, man. And so I think that's a big piece of it. But back to you, because you are an Eagle scout.
There it is. It's always one. It's always one.
I graduated, bro. He did me like that because I graduated.
It's always one. I was looking at the series. I'm like, yeah, there it is.
Always.
No, you didn't even want to finish Eagle Scouts.
Hell no, because of that. That's why. Bro, I ain't doing this.
You go to school to tie a knot?
Josh,
I was out there pitching tents and all. Get my sleeping bag. All right, let's go.
bro,
Going on Survivor? What you need that for?
No, what's that like though? You hooping, like, and you really hooping, right? You coming into your own as a hooper, but your pops was like, nah, you started this Boy Scout stuff. You know, you had family members that did. I think your brothers may have did it. What's that experience like, man, being a 6'4" Boy Scout?
I was the biggest one out there, I'll tell you that. Man, I was, the whole time, I'm sitting there, I'm like, bro, I don't want to do this. Like, bro, this is corny. I don't want to do none of this. I'm like, there was one time, it was like middle school. I'm like, I basically was like, I don't really want to do this no more. So my dad was like, all right, like, let me just promise you're gonna finish. And at middle school, you know, you say whatever. Like, you just say whatever to get out of it. So I'm like, oh, yeah, whatever, I promise. I ain't do it. It was quiet for 3 years. I'm out there just, I'm focused on basketball. I'm hooping. I'm like a sophomore, or junior in high school. And then after practice one day, he's like, yo, let's take a ride. I'm like, cool. Pulls up to the meeting, and I look at him. Oh, he's in the driver. I'm looking at him. What we doing? He's like, you made me a promise, so you're gonna finish it. And I'm sitting there, I'm like, ain't no way he's serious, bro. Ain't no way he's serious. So, like, first couple months, I'm like dragging my feet. Yeah, okay, whatever. And then there was like a top 100 camp, you know, for like, it's supposed to be like top 100 players in the country. You know, they all go, so where, you know, where people see you. So you're gonna get ranked, you're gonna get all, you know, offers, all that. He was like, nah, you're not going. You gotta go to this, you gotta do this little camping trip because you told me you were gonna finish. If you don't do that, and you have to finish that by 18. At this point, I'm like 16. And it was like a pretty strict deadline in terms of like what I had to do to make sure I was able to finish when I was 18. So, and I know that, so I'm like, I'm dragging my feet with it. And so he's like, nah, you're not going there. You gotta do this, because if you don't do this, you're not gonna finish. And if you don't finish, like, you're not going to Peace Jam, which is like the big Nike tournament for all the Nike teams. So he was like, if you want to hoop, if you want to play basketball, you gotta have to finish this. During it, dog, I hated it, bro. I was like, bro, this is so corny, this, all that. Like, now, like, obviously, like, I appreciate it because it taught me, you know, to, you know, finish what I started, you know, leadership, you know, those kind of characteristics. But during it, man.
You had like the shorts on though and everything? Or did y'all wear pants? Like, what's the Boy Scout attire?
Bro, you
for
had
a 6'4" hooper?
The collar little shirt. And then, yeah, they had shorts that were hella short. I'm 6'4", I'm like, bro, these made for like 5'10" white guys, like, bro, like, go, like. So most of the time I'll just be wearing pants and all that, bro. It was interesting, bro.
I got your badges?
Yeah, my little satchel, all the badges. Yeah, I had it.
No, could you imagine him rolling from a tournament? I mean, rolling from like Boy Scouts, and Pops pull you up at a tournament though, and you hop out with all the best hoopers in the country. You got your sad head short.
I know, never saw the light of day, but I'll tell you that.
Hey, do you have a picture of anything in your Boy Scout?
There is. You can find one online if you Google it. If you Google it. I got one. I got to see if I got one.
He's getting out the car. They like, we about to cook him. And then he just transformed, just turned into a monster out there.
And you like, he got out the car in a sash. Already.
Well, I tell you, it was one of my boys. He would, like, during the playoffs, he always would post stuff like saying like good game basically, and it was always like this corny little video, and then he always be like, yeah, shout out to the Eagle. I'm like, all right, bro. Dudes out there calling me the Eagle. I'm like, nah, bro, ain't no way, dog. I was like, no, I gotta. If I want to hoop, I gotta finish.
You was the best Eagle Scout ever.
They was like, we gonna start an Eagle Scout intramural team. We gonna win it all. We got Josh. So here's my question for you though, man. I thought that we'd come here, you know, and I know that you hoopers do this. I thought you'd bring down, like, I mean, it's early, but you could have brought down some wine or something. I hear that's one of your hobbies.
You got your own wine cellar? Wine
Nah, so
business?
it's like a wine page. So it's you know, I love drinking wine, right? So everybody's like, oh, Josh, what you drinking? Oh, da da da. What should I drink? So I just started posting stuff on Instagram, like, yo, you know, I made a page and post what I drink and like what I buy. So I started, you know, doing that for the last like 2-3 years, and then I think, you know, when I'm done hooping, I might try to do something in that space, and then I'll probably just transform that page, you know, just kind of like my own personal like page into, you know, whatever I do. But it's something I like, I have a passion for. I might have to start a little Boy Scout troop out there and make wine making into a merit badge or something. Might as well, right? It's
Get
fitting.
you another little bag.
Yeah, exactly.
You have a unique journey that you could mesh everything together.
There's a lot in that journey, man. It's a lot of random stuff in that journey, but that's
Did
me.
Scottie Scheffler's arrest ruin the PGA championship for you?
Nah, because what was gangster about it? Well, he got arrested, then he went out and shot like a mile, like
six.
Yeah, I think it was like 6 under. I said, damn, he cold. Ooh, that boy cold. And it's like you look at like the charges, and it's like second degree, like some type of like assault or whatever. It's like, bro, if you know like Scottie Scheffler, like one that looks like nicest dude, religious too, I'm just like, bro, everybody know he ain't do nothing, bro. If he did anything, bro, it was just a miscommunication.
Yeah.
But nah, I was still watching it.
LeBron pulls up on the court with Opus 1. What would be your bottle?
I'll give 2 answers, right? I'll give a bougie answer and a non-bougie answer. So like every day I'll do like Heights cellars. Heights is like one of my go-tos. And then, but if it's like just something I'm just like, yo, I want to drink Harlan Estate. That's one of my favorite Napa Cab.
It's a cab.
Yep.
How much it costs?
See, I don't even know if I want to tell you.
You know how much it costs.
Check. Pocket watcher.
Oh, I know how much money he made.
They got founders.
I Google people. I know you got. Listen, bro. You drink wine and watch golf. You're rich, so just come on with it.
Wine, watches, and golf. That's my 3 vices right there.
Hey, Chad, he's rich or white.
Exactly.
It ain't but 2 things you gonna be if that's your hobbies.
On release, it's like I'm on the founder list, so it's probably like $1,000 a bottle.
For wine?
I got one upstairs. You want to try it?
Yes, I would love.
But you
I
said
would really enjoy
but that's
that.
the one you drink occasionally. That's not your
I'll
everyday.
drink that one. Yeah, I mean, for me, it's like I got a lot of wine. So for me, it's at the point it's like if I have $1,000 bottle of wine, or I say I got $50,000 bottles of wine, right? It's like there's only so many occasions, and like I said, I'm idiotic and addicted. I'm gonna keep buying them. So it's like at a certain point, it's like I can't just wait for special occasions.
Right.
So I wake up, it's Tuesday at 3 in the afternoon. Whoa, it's a special occasion, baby. Let's break open this bottle. It's just like, bro, I got so many quote unquote special occasion wines that I'm like, bro, if I don't just drink them, just
Do you ever gift them
randomly?
to like people that come in town? Like say you're playing a team and you got a friend that's on the team. Because basketball is different than football, right?
Yeah.
Like we practice all week for 3 hours.
Yeah.
To where y'all are traveling, you know, y'all might be on the road for a week, but there's so much interconnectivity with you play FIBA, you know, I mean, you're on the USA team, all those things. You ever have like people on other teams and y'all break bread and drink wine together?
So me and TJ, whenever I go to his city and play, and he go to my city, we give each other bottles of wine. And then normally the other guys that I'm cool with, we'll go to dinner, and I actually travel with wine. So I'll have some of my best bottles. So I'll bring some of them. We'll go to dinner. We'll drink it there. I'll have them drink a little bit more than me, obviously, so they can be a little,
Take one more sip.
Yeah, exactly. They can be a little the next day, and then we good.
You got 5980 Paddock.
Oh, no, I don't. I want the 5980.
All right.
I got the 5712R, and then I got the Black Aquanaut. The 5980 rose gold with the blue face. That's
that's in my target.
yes,
in my line.
that's my watch I want.
I don't know. We got to get to this question. Biggest pivot. What's your biggest pivot in life? And that would be, if you can look back on one moment, one defining moment, and say, without this happening, I wouldn't be Josh Hart.
Probably if I didn't go back to Sidwell, because it was thinking of Montrose Christian at the time was, a top 5, top 10, high school basketball school or whatever you want to call it, in the country. That's kind of where I wanted to go, but I guess it wouldn't be much of a pivot because I still stayed there. I did a 360 pivot, but I think that was the biggest thing, choosing to stay. I think because at the end of the day, it wasn't just like, okay, I'm gonna stay and, have fun. It was like, okay, I know this path ain't gonna be easy. Like it's gonna be, I'm gonna have to live with another family. While I lived with the other family, on Saturdays, there was a lady named Nikki Bravo who helped me with academics. So I would go from my host family's house Monday to Friday, Saturday, basically all day Saturday, I'm at Nikki Bravo's house. Sunday, I'm with my parents, and then I'm doing it all over again. So it was that, it's a combination of that, knowing that the road wasn't gonna be easy, but I still chose to do it and chose to go through that adversity head on. And then just in my personal life, like, I probably wouldn't have my wife, I probably, she went to high school with me. One of my best friends, Phil, went to high school with me. Matt, high school. One of my boy Sebastian, went to a neighboring high school. So if you look at everything in my life, is all really based on high school and based on what happened in high school. And if I made that choice to go to Montrose, my path would have been totally different. I most likely wouldn't have my wife, wouldn't have my 2 little boys, my brothers, my best friends. So, choosing to stay was probably my I'll say 360 pivot.
It was just fun to watch your team play this year, to figure out how Jalen could give people 50 and just move that slow with that much pace, get to his spot whenever he wanted to, see you play full games in the playoffs, continue to stack minutes without some of the names that you mentioned. And I think if OG doesn't get hurt when he does, we could have you guys playing right now in the conference finals. When you look at the future of the New York Knicks, how excited are you for what you guys can become and accomplish?
Extremely, extremely excited. As y'all know, it's either, for your fan base, it's either you're good or you're selling hope, right? And right now, that's what we are. We have the right foundation, obviously starts with Dolan. He loves it. Him to Leon, to Wes, to Tibbs, they have a passion for it. And then the players, we all cut from that same kind of cloth. So obviously it's a business, OG's a free agent, Hart's a free agent. Hopefully we bring them back. And, with all teams, there's gonna be changes, but the direction that this franchise is going in is something to be extremely hopeful for, and we can compete at a high level for, years. But, with that said, there's always changes that's going to be made, and that's always the tough part.
Yeah, so we can't let you off the show, man, without making a pick. So who?
Minnesota.
So damn, that was fast.
I got Minnesota. I mean, just how they're playing, and I'm not gonna lie. Once we lost, I think it was that night we were at Jalen's house, and we were like, yeah, man, we want Denver to win. The only reason why we want Denver to win, they just won. It's like
it's not gonna be a new team.
It's supposed to happen. Yeah, it ain't no new story. It ain't. Boston not winning. Boston fans already crazy as hell. If they win, they're gonna be even crazier. Obviously, I got love for all the people. TJ, Tyrese, OB, James Johnson in Indiana. They beat us. So I don't want them to win. But Minnesota, man, I think Minnesota, there's too much there. There's too much there not to win. Obviously, the talent offensively, defensively. If they don't win, I'll be very surprised.
Who's your pick? Who's gonna take it all?
I think Boston still, bro. Them boys can go.
Freddie T?
My group chat full of Minnesota.
I got Minnesota. We should go to a game if Minnesota makes it or if Boston makes it. Fanatics Sportsbook is sending 40 people, so I think you can get 20 pairs of tickets to go to the finals. I would love to do that. I mean, you can plug us, Freddie T and Chan, because you're a part of it. All they got to do, though, get the Sportsbook app, download, and, they'll have an opportunity to experience that.
Fanatics Sportsbook app. Yeah, Boston's about to give me some bread.
Speaking of New York, you are going to be at the Fanatics Fan Fest. Can we see your pod there?
I'm about to say, I guess so. Apparently, I guess you're going to be, so I'm gonna have to put that in my. August was pretty open for me, but I guess now during those times, I will be at the Fanatics Fans Fest.
It's August 16th through the 18th in New York at the Javits Center. I mean, AI, Tom Brady, Derek Jeter. Oh, by the way, the Pivot.
The Pivot, the Mannings, Sabrina Ionescu.
Yeah.
And what you got, Chan?
All you got to go is to fanaticsfest.com, get your tickets. We're going to be there. We are all 3 days, 16th through the 18th of August. Man, we have us a good time.
Yeah, I'm excited about it. Like, truly, bro, I appreciate you. I mean, we've been texting about trying to get this done. I got nervous when I saw you go down, playing a lot of minutes, just checked in on you. But what you've been able to accomplish here, but also through the journey, I mean, starting at Sidwell to get to this point, bro, it is amazing. Just look forward to seeing whatever else you have in store in your career. But, man, life. You're an interesting dude to go from Eagle Scout to one of the toughest cats in the NBA, man. That's a very impressive deal.
Appreciate it.
Appreciate you.
Thanks for having me.
Yes, sir.
Yes,
Man, let's go drink on these expensive-ass bottles of wine.
My boy, appreciate you, man.
Yes, sir.
Hey, though, you know what's so crazy, though?
Appreciate you, bro.
Like, when you see Josh, he was guarding. Who he was guarding? I think he was guarding Siakam. I was like, man, Josh, Lil. And then you meet him in person, and he's that tall.
Fanatics, man, we got a special giveaway.
Hold up, limitless. Take a stomach, got a pin in it. I fought the head to witness it. Got my people feeling militant. Way I'm feeling got me up. On the mission got me up. Knowing me, I got the key. On the vision I can trust. Limitless. Take a stomach, got a pin in it. I fought the head to witness it. Got my people feeling militant. Way